Good evening and welcome back to Frontington and Backwards Railway. Someone on Facebook recently asked me how I do the lighting on my layout. In particular, they were after a wiring diagram. So I decided I would do a little video, which isn't quite what he asked for, but hey, you can't have everything. Now I have a number of different LEDs around my layout, depending on where they are, what they need to be doing. One of them, for example, is this. This is just a normal small white LED. Although this particular one has come with a resistor built into it, which is quite handy. I don't know what sort of resistor that is, but I'm assured that this is suitable for a 3-volt power supply without needing to add any more resistors to it. So that's quite useful for if I want to light something up inside. You know, I wouldn't necessarily want people to be able to see an LED like that, but inside buildings, that kind of thing, this works very nicely. I've also got some lampposts around the layout, depending on what I want to be doing. So this is a kind of a more modern image lamppost, and this one is a slightly older design. I'm using these on my platforms, which look quite nice. Now I've no idea whether these come with resistors or not. It's a bit difficult to tell, but I'm assured that these are also suitable for a 3-volt power supply. So now I need to have a power supply. Move those to one side. I'm currently using one of these. It's a universal power supply. It's one of these ones where you can flip the switch and tell it what voltage you want, which is quite handy. And this one should be plenty powerful enough to light up a whole load of LEDs around my layout. This one's actually quite a nice one because it's also got a USB port on it, which means that I can, I don't know, charge my phone while I'm out here. Or if something on my layout needed a 5-volt power supply, I could use that. So that's quite handy too. So now I think we ought to look at a wiring diagram. And for that, I'm going to need a piece of paper. What did I do with my paper maker? Ah, here we go. Lovely. Let's start with a 3-volt power supply. Let's say that's positive, that's negative. So out of this side, I'm going to come and have my LED symbol that looks something like that. And we'll probably also want a resistor. Now this can go before the LED or after it, depending on how you want to do it. And that's basically it. Connect all of this up like this, and your LED should light up. Now, I appreciate you're probably seeing this upside down. Don't worry, there's a solution to this. All you need to do is turn your computer screen 180 degrees. You done that? Excellent. Oh, I've just thought that probably won't work if you're watching this in a cinema. Oh, bear with me. I will turn my garage 180 degrees. Okay, I'm back. Everything is fine. Where was I? Ah yes, wiring diagram. This probably works fine if you've just got the one LED, but what if you've got more? Obviously you don't want to be having a separate power supply for every single LED. Fortunately, you can add as many LEDs as you like in here. Let me quickly draw something in here. Let's have another resistor. So you can connect them up like that. This is known as connecting them in parallel. You'll see that each LED has a clear route to the positive and negative without going through any other LEDs. And this is important because this is what's going to allow us to have all of our LEDs with the same brightness. Let's take this a step further then and get practical, because what I tend to use around my layout are these. This is a connection block, terminal block, chocolate block, whatever you want to call it. You've probably seen them around. These are really useful for connecting things together without doing any soldering. So this is what I would propose to use. Now, let's say, for example, if I turn this piece of paper around, let's say I've got my 3-volt power supply here, and I'm going to have my chocolate block connector in there. Now what I can do is take my positive and put it into there, take my negative and put it into there, and if I isolate them, isolate the chocolate block in the middle, it means that I've got a positive end and a negative end. What I can then do is have my little LED thing there and connect that to that side and that to that side. But then I can also have another LED and connect that one to that side and that one to that side. And now I've got exactly the same sort of thing as I had before, except that I'm using my chocolate block connector. The other nice thing about this approach is that I can add another chocolate block connector here, connect negative to negative, positive to positive, and then I can add yet more LEDs this side. And by doing this around my layout, putting different chocolate blocks across my layout like this, it means that the wires from my LEDs don't have to travel as far. What I'm essentially creating here is a 3-volt bus into which everything can be plugged. So, as it happens, I do have a bit of wiring to do on one area of my layout where I've installed some new LEDs. So let me just walk you through what I'm going to do. So I've got my terminal block. What I need to do is mount this on the underside of my layout, but I'll also need to connect this up so that I've got a positive end and a negative end. This is actually probably too long for where I need it, so I'm going to need to shorten this. Now what did I do with my shortener? Ah, there it is. Brilliant. Now you've probably seen other people wiring this up so that you've got loops all along one side, so that they're all connected up electrically, and then you can put your other things into the other side. And that works well. Some people have been using that for a long time. To me though, it seems a little inefficient, because you don't then have this side to be plugging things into. So I prefer to use a different approach. First of all, you need a piece of wire, ideally one that doesn't have this plastic sheathing on it. Now what did I do with my wire stripper? Ah, here we go. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is just weave this. I'm going to put that in one end, bend it round and thread it into the other side. And if I pull that through, now hopefully you can see I've got a piece of wire going through those 3 ends of that terminal block. And I can do the same thing on the other end. So I'll have a positive end and a negative end connected up electrically with this bit of wire, but it means that I've got all 6 of these terminal blocks to be plugging things into, which I just think is a better way of doing it. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, hang on a minute, doesn't that mean that these are bare wires on the layout? Well, yes, technically you're right. For me, I mean, this is only a 3-volt bus, so it's not really the end of the world, and I know that where this is going to be placed on my layout, there isn't going to be anything that's going to bridge that gap, or there's nothing that's going to be a problem with those being bare wires. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? So now here we are underneath the layout, and you can see that I've gone ahead and installed this chocolate block connector. It's just screwed into the bottom of the layout there. And I've already started putting some of the wires in from the lights. But you'll also see that there's these couple of wires here that feed into it from this chocolate block over here. And that one takes its feed from a chocolate block further down there. This is my 3-volt bus. All of these are connected up together, and this is what gives me my 3-volt power supply with all of the LEDs wired in parallel. Well, I hope you found that little video useful, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye for now.